course, and welcome to The Balance. And today on the Walk the Talk segment, of course, like I said, seeing is the belief. But most of the times, we visit companies or institutions, we ask them certain information, all they do is talk. But also, we introduce another segment called The Walk. So in this segment, we have two episodes. That is The Walk and The Talk. Just to explain to you, we have a virus that has been spreading all over the world, and that is called the coronavirus. How prepared is the Gambia? Of course, we know the place to find out this information. That is the Minister of Public Health, and also the Minister of Health Promotions. We have a gentleman from the Health Promotion who's going to take us through how prepared they are in case we find any outbreak in the Gambia, and may God forbid, obviously. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure, Buba, to have you on the platform. And this is The Talk. Well, Buba, we've had out on the 31st of December, there was a breakout called coronavirus in China, in a city called Wuhan. And then later on, 7th of January, we heard that China has discovered a case of a new virus, which is called the coronavirus. Now, that has scared a lot of people. Of course, the Gambia too, because we have colleagues in China, we have students in China, we have our families in China, and we have also our friends in China. And China is one of our friends too. Well, the virus spread rapidly, and we know how it spread. In most cases, when a new virus occurs, it doesn't have a treatment, and also is very difficult to control. How prepared is the Gambian public health for this outbreak?
Very much excited to be part of the show. And just for information that I work with the Minister of Health, and in the Minister of Health we have different departments, so it's not a separate, health promotion is not a separate ministry, and even public health is also not a separate, they are all under Minister of Health. So, but then I'm speaking on behalf of the Minister of Health, and I work at the Health Promotion Directorate, as I said. Coming back to your question, this is very important. As you said, currently there is an outbreak of what we call novel coronavirus. And novel in the sense that it's a new virus, it's a new strain of virus that is kind of unknown to experts. So everybody is learning to understand what kind of virus is this, how can it be treated, how can we, prevent ourselves in a way of developing new vaccines to prevent our population. So all those things are going on in other countries. So as we said, the outbreak started in China, in Wuhan, in December, and this is why it's called 2019 NCOV. So meaning that 2019 novel coronavirus. So that is the name. So the outbreak actually, maybe just to give a little bit of history of how it started. It started in a live market in China, live animal market. So there are markets in China where they sell live, animals, for home consumption, for food. So actually, this is a fish market, but they also sell other products, as I was told. There's ranging from domestic birds, snakes and other things in that market. So it is widely believed that that's the origin of the virus. The first person who contact or exposed to the virus is from that market in Wuhan. So after a few days, it was believed that apart from animal to human transmission, there is what we call human to human transmission going on right now. So meaning that the virus is also affecting other people who have already initially exposed to the animals. So the virus is spreading rapidly, as you said, and it has in fact crossed the boundaries or the borders of China to other countries in Europe, in Asia, and even in the United States of America. So they all have some confirmed cases in these regions. But thank God, Africa we have no confirmed case yet, and there was some suspected cases in African regions, but most of them turned out to be negative. So, for instance, Cote d'Ivoire case was a suspect, and then later it turns out to be negative. So, as I am speaking, likewise in Kenya, in Ethiopia, they all turned out to be negative. So, as I am speaking, there is no case in Africa yet, and the Minister of Health, coming down to your question, is particularly on high alert to make sure, we secure our borders. We know right now there is no case in the country, and the only way we can have a case is through our borders. Yeah. And if you really want to work on preventing the disease, then this means you have to secure your border so that those people coming in will not come with the virus. So
yeah,
this is.
I just want to ask you there. Okay. That's a very good point. Yeah. But the point that we have cases like people coming into the country from China. Before you protect that border. It's like you've said you have already protected your border to make sure that you don't have cases like that. But we realize that, we find out that there are people who even came before you protected the border. So does that mean that the Ministry of Health were very late, or what happened? Is it because the Ministry of Health were not that concerned? That's why some people even came in and they're currently in the Gambia.
I think this is this is a very important question. If you look at the nature of the disease, as I said, we are learning, and we have come to learn that the incubation period of the vaccine, I will explain this, of the virus is 14 days. And what it means is by incubation period is the exposure, the time you were exposed to the virus and the time you start manifesting the signs and symptoms of the virus will take 14 days. So when the virus starts and within the 2 weeks period, Ministry of Health was able to act. So that 2 weeks period is a window of opportunity for us, in a sense that we can monitor anyone who comes into the country. Those who comes, before the 2 weeks period, they are definitely not qualified to be monitored. Because why? We don't need them. They are not going to show anything. Because if you already stay in the country for more than 2 weeks, actually, and then there was no problem with you, then actually you cannot have the virus.
So are you now telling us that you're going to take a chance whereby we just allow people to stay for 2 weeks and see outside? Meaning, if the particular person is having the virus, that could be spread.
What I'm saying is when the outbreak started, that's the initial start of the outbreak.
Yeah.
Up to 2 weeks, anybody who came into the country were monitored.
They were monitored.
They were monitored.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, they were monitored.
We found cases that people come into the country from China and they were never monitored, because we know that the Chinese were just from a holiday and they are back in the Gambia.
I wanted to come to this point because this is a very, it's a hot question for us, on social media, on everywhere, that these people were on. And if you remember the New Year, when the New Year started and the outbreak and the New Year, already the Gambia was already enforcing the border control measures. So when these people came back, we were monitoring them, and most of them will not know how we monitor. I will come to this. How we monitor these travelers. That is when you look at our airport system, we have what we call the thermographic cameras. And we will not be.
But that camera was just placed there not long ago. It was just 3 days ago.
That camera was there since in the time of Ebola outbreak. That was some years ago. That was in 2015.
So you mean the same camera can detect the
yes. What it will it will not detect the coronavirus.
Yeah.
This is a part of a screening process. So we use this as a surveillance system because we know the signs and symptoms of coronavirus. So the most important sign or the symptom that the camera will pick is the fever, extreme fever above 38 degrees. So if you are coming towards the arrival gate and coming into the country, there is a camera, but you will not notice this. But a camera is stationed at the gate there, and it can pick everybody coming in. And it will analyze your temperature at the same level, and there will be someone sitting in a room somewhere with a monitor, a screen, and will be monitoring this. And the camera can singly pick out only those who have a shown extreme temperature. So that's the time we will, quarantine that person. We will isolate that person to a separate room, and then there will be further actions taken. And
but if you look at the coronavirus, it could be in your system, according to the scientists, that it will not show any signs and symptoms.
No.
They said the virus could be inside your body for a number of 14 days without showing any signs and symptoms. Yeah. So meaning somebody can enter and the camera might not pick the person might be having the virus.
This is why we have we are not only stopping at the camera. We are taking the travel history. That's why we have our staffs at the airport. We have health officers at the airport. That's in years ago. Yeah. So it's all part of the IHR regulation. IHR means international health regulation. That you have to have some measures at the ports of entries. That's very clear. And Gambia is a signatory to the IHR. So meaning that, we have already known this, such kind of things can happen. And we have staffs who are stationed at the airport and they are monitoring every travelers.
Yeah, but in other countries like in America, I wouldn't compare Gambia and America in terms of course, resources, they have it. What they are doing is they anybody that is coming in and is a citizen, they place you somewhere outside the country so that you will not, of course, associate with anybody for a period of 14 days. And they will do the quarantine, check to see whether the virus is developing in you. And they find out that some people are developing the virus.
No, this particular travel restriction, there's only one country that I have heard as of now, that is Hong Kong, that have introduced that, meaning, they will quarantine all travelers.
It's chill life music.
The phone ain't got down, fuck you for getting. Top another water, there are doing them. Ranka beside you now. In the knee back until top another water, why Kylan you bugger. The phone ain't got down, fake it, when the knee back until top another. The phone ain't got down, fake it, when the knee back until Ranka beside.
Man tapanda, man may botambar, rakabisap atola, man may dawalbar, rakabisap balla.
Welcome back, of course, viewers. Like I said, this is a Walk the Talk segment. It's a segment that find out the talk. It's not all about the talk too. We have to also find the walk. But this particular segment today is the talk. Welcome. Thank you. This is Dr. Buba Manjang. He's the Director of Public Health in the Gambia. And he's going to take us through how prepared. The first question, Mr. Dr. Manjang, that I want to ask you is how prepared is the public health, of course, how prepared is the Gambia in terms of any outbreak that occurs for the coronavirus?
Yes, for the case of the Gambia, we are preparing ourselves. We have structures in place, and then the first thing we did is we think of our borders. We call it points of entry. We have about 9 designated points of entry. When I say designated points of entry, those are the official points of entry that is recognized by the ministry and the government in general. So we ensure that all the personnel points of entry are well informed, well. That's why the first thing we did is we brought them together and then conducted an orientation by giving them the relevant information. Now, informations are sent to them regarding the coronavirus, the mode of transmission, prevention, and also border procedures to be taken. And this was not basically, limited to only health officials, but we engaged all stakeholders, the GRE personnel, immigration, sanitary, and then the food quality personnel are all put together and then assessed. So we did that the orientation, and then from there we went to the next step. That is, we also reactivated the steering committee, the national steering committee, the health and emergency response committee. That also entails all stakeholders, including our stakeholders, donor partners, UN system. They are all part of that committee. And then that committee is also divided into subcommittees. Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
it's a good point. But seeing of course, the people who say seeing is the belief. They will say that in most cases, Gambians will come to the TV and say, we are well prepared, we have these antidotes around. But in the actual fact, that's not the case.
Yeah, but in this case, we are, if I say we are prepared, we have the structures during the Ebola.
But how prepared are you when people are coming from China entering and then there's no quarantine test or there is no test being carried out? How prepared are you? If you said you are prepared, how do you allow people to enter?
So this is what somebody it's likely to say. But like in the actual sense, we have personnel at the airport. The public health officials are there.
So they were there already after people have entered?
No, they are already there before, even before people have entered. What happened is we have these thermographic cameras positioned, and the health officer is sitting behind the camera. So if travelers come, even before you reach the red zone, the camera will capture your temperature, understand? And if your temperature goes beyond the limit, that is 38 degrees Celsius, it will alarm. It will alarm, and then the particular passenger will be identified from the lot, taken to the location, and then you will be interviewed. Information will be collected from you, and then that information helps our surveillance team. So people have been monitored. People have been there even before the outbreak. This is a continuous, it's a 24-hour service at the airport. Understand? So, but we don't blame them, because they may think, if I'm not being assessed and then I just pass. I'm not being checked, examined, I pass. While somebody is at the corner there, is observing and then is seeing, monitoring your temperature. You understand? So, but at the advent of the coronavirus, we also we put in place some sanitary measures. We have the officials, health officers. You reach to the health officials before you reach the immigration. And then you have the hand sanitizers even before you, because nobody knows. If a traveler is coming, you might have sneeze or do any other thing.
But according to the scientists, they say the virus is very funny in its format. Like sometimes it could be inside you, and it will not show any signs and symptoms. So meaning the camera might not pick the temperature, might not pick any signs and symptoms. And at the end of the day, probably in 12 days or in 14 days in the Gambia, you develop the virus.
You are talking, that one you are talking about, the incubation period is 2 to 14 days.
Yeah.
Understand? So even before it manifests those signs and symptoms, like the temperatures may not be manifested at that time. But we don't, the temperature that we take is an indication that we want to absorb, we want to get hold of travelers that are, that manifest the signs along the way, coming like high fever.
Not the one not the one with the virus,
but
and they do not manifest any signs.
No, not necessarily, because the one that is not with one dose that doesn't manifest the signs and symptoms, maybe within the short period, it may not be likely to be contagious. So what we do is we have surveillance system in place. We monitor you from your entry point. We are not only taking temperature, we also take travel history. Understand what I'm saying? So I'm telling you a series of activities that we do at the airport. One of them is taking temperature. The other one is hand sanitizing. The other one is you are being interviewed, by taking your travel history. We know where you come from, and then we know where you are going to within the Gambia. So we have the surveillance team going to monitor you from that point up to where you are, so that if we do contact tracing, we know how you are, especially when you come to the risk zones.
I hope that you are not moved by of course, this statement we always make. We said, well, Gambia is a protected country. God has protected the Gambia, so this virus will not enter here, just like the Ebola. But in most of times, professionals like this, or like you, wouldn't believe things like that. You believe, of course, God exists and is protecting us. But in this sense, what work are we doing? So I don't want Gambia to sit back and say, okay, this is a belief. Let's just sit back and wait to see whether the virus is going to come in or not.
Yeah, Gambia, of course, we believe. I believe in God, and then I know God's protection, and then we pray for Allah to protect us from the disease. But nonetheless, God, love us to be active,
Exactly.
to protect ourselves. So we don't sit back and say God is there
going to protect us.
That is one thing, but the other thing is we have to be active. So that activeness is through putting in preventive measures. First of all, we sensitize our border personnel. We train them. You can see currently we are training all the stakeholders at the points of entries, and equally we are. We instituted all those control measures, assignments are there. Control measures are there. We also have, with the support of the International Organization of Migration, We have all the protective equipments being provided to the Ministry of
So
Health.
there will be no more excuse saying we don't have the money.
No, the
Which is a normal norms here, like they said Gambia don't have the money.
You should remember that we are in a third world country.
Yeah, I know.
Gambia is one of them. So the support is coming from IOM, and then we are encouraging all other stakeholders, especially UN agencies, and the like to come in and support. So IOM support in terms of personal protective equipment for the border personnel. They provided hand sanitizers, they provided thermometers, you understand? They provided even sprayers, they provided detergents. You know, they provide us even computers for data management, to ensure, because data is now.
Yeah.
You have information, you know how things are flowing.
Yeah.
So they provide all those, but others need to come in to still
support more.
to support, and
Yeah.
they are within the committees, various committees.
Yeah, as a public health expert, currently the virus has been spreading. Many people are fearing. Of course, we have a very close tie with China, and then many people are saying, okay, we have a lot of students, a lot of exchange programs, even in departments, that there are people are in China. Do you know the number of Gambians that are trapped in those viruses?
Yeah,
where the virus
as of now, I know of like 20 Gambian students in China. That's what I know of.
They are trapped in the city, in Wuhan.
Wuhan. Yes. I don't know whether they are in one, but I know of some Gambians, about 20 of them. Yeah.
So what is the Gambian government doing? Do you know any idea what the Gambian government is doing to make sure that those Gambians that are trapped in that city are probably provided with flight back home to make sure that they are safe?
You know, we are talking of health. We also have Foreign Affairs Ministry, and then there might be some processes that they are doing. If you want further information, maybe you'll be able to get more.
Maybe our next talk will go to the Foreign Affairs
Yes,
Minister.
yes,
That's why
so
I asked whether you have any idea.
Yeah, so that's the idea I'm giving you.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't want to preempt anything.
I just want to ask you, as an expert, what advice would you have to the people, in fact, like their role? Because people also have a role to play, not only the public health officer, but also the people. What role do you think you can advise the people to play as well?
Yeah, why assignment started when our conversation started. We involve all stakeholders, and community is part of these stakeholders. So community are the people, that's the general public. So they should be vigilant. That's why we have the risk communication under the Directorate of Health Promotion, giving information, sensitizing, and then we have a subcommittee on that as well. So information should be given to empower the population to have the relevant information with regards to prevention, signs and symptoms. So if public, the general public, suspected any person of those signs and symptoms, coughing, sneezing.
People cough every day. So
yeah, people no, but like you can
every
easily,
day.
you can
I was coughing
let me
yesterday.
help you. The structure we have in place.
Yes.
We have the 1025 toll-free call available, provided to us through the help of Pura, and then accessible to all lines, available, all networks within the Gambia. So you can easily call that 1025.
1025 is the number to call
It's the number
for any case suspected.
But
like for example,
any other information, not only cases, but any other information you want, any other idea you want, before you just jump up and then go into the social media and give information that may not be correct and that may create some problems within the community. Call this number to get the information.
No, but what I'm saying is,
Yes.
of course, that is the role of the public, to make sure that they are vigilant in terms of any of these signs that you are talking about.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is, people cough every day.
Yes.
People have fresh colds. This is also one sign for the coronavirus. So are you now trying to tell the public that anybody you see coughing, of course, COVID probably very
let me tell you one thing.
Like, I just want that place to be clear so that we wouldn't see somebody just say, and then we'll take him to the. We call him up and say, come on, carry this guy.
You should know that that's not the case.
Yeah.
Luckily, currently in the Gambia, we don't have any confirmed case in the Gambia. You understand? So we are trying to put in control measures, the preventive measures in place. So there should not be any panic of creation of fear or confusion in our communities or in our public. So we don't reach to that level. But if you want further information on protection, prevention, and the like, call this number. Or if somebody talk to you about information or you get an before you jump onto the social media, there are channels of communication to confirm. Call 1025, the relevant authorities will take it up. And they will definitely act on it.
Exactly. So that's a very good point, viewers, wherever you are. That's the director of public health. That's Dr. Manjang. And Dr. Manjang is a very, of course, we are proud of him. We are proud to have doctors of our own Gambians, people who are doctors and they are our own Gambians. And they are doing their best to make sure that any outbreaks is being controlled, or also the border checked properly, and people are definitely quarantined. But this is very important. I just want to ask a last question that has been friendly. And the issue of public health in the Gambia. Many people are saying, of course, the public health officials are doing their job, but most of the times they complain that they don't have the material, they don't have the materials to use. Is it because there is no budget provided to provide this material? Because one thing that is very important in government is health.
Yes, when you mention they don't have material, you have to be specific. Yes, resources are limited in terms of Gambia. But
could that be an excuse? Could we say that should be an excuse when it comes to health?
No, that's what I'm coming.
It's number one.
I'm coming. The third world countries, I'm repeating again, not only Gambia, limited in terms of resources. But that doesn't make us sit back and say resources. Efforts are in place. Health officers, public health officers are doing everything possible to make sure that people are protected. They are doing environmental inspections. They are doing registrations. They are immunizing our children. Maybe yours and mine, and any other person.
Yeah, we know.
They are doing all activities. So if you say, we say, but I know, of course, resources always.
But don't you think sometimes they are misplaced priorities? Like, for example, funds are being put into places that they're supposed not to, in certain cases. Is that not the case sometimes?
I may not be able to say.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manja. Yeah, of course, those are some of the things that people would say that, of course, these people will always come empty-handed, try to improvise. But of course, Gambia is also a country that is definitely in the type of country, and we struggle when it comes to resources. But nonetheless, health is number one, and I think the government of the Gambia should make sure that health is always considered as number one. When people are healthy, the nation is healthy. And that's exactly what we said, a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. And that's exactly where we're going to close it from here. But this is the talk. This is the talk. We will follow the work next week to find out all what Doctor has said, and also our gentleman who was here from the Health Promotion Directory, they understand all what he has said, whether it's true or not. On that note, thank you very much, and bye-bye.